Welcome back, everybody, of the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS. You're watching Open, and thank you for joining in. Thank you for tuning in and checking it all out. Our next guest is a jazz musician. She's a pianist. She joins us to highlight her latest album, Groovitude, and to speak to us about why this project is so very important. So please welcome to the show, Hey Rim Jeon. Welcome,
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, Dr.
How
Bob.
are you?
Good,
All right.
great.
Finally, we get a chance to talk and get a chance to meet you and talk about the wonderful things that you're doing on this great project that you're working on.
Beautiful. Thank you for having me. This is my great honor and pleasure to be on your show. And go ahead.
No, keep going.
I think this is a great opportunity to talk about my special project, which is just released last week. And this is called Groovitude. I named this as a groovy plus attitude. So it's a new word that I made up. And I like the name of it because it's a little bit bouncy and funky, kind of fun name for the album.
Yeah, so you graduated to the next thing. Congratulations. That's another word. Groovitude, congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell us how you got started in this business, this jazz business, and then how you came up with the name Groovitude and this project.
Well, interestingly, I originally came from Korea. I grew up and I came here when I was 18 years old. It was in 1997. And I was once student at Berkeley. That's how I came to Boston. And I'm still there and teaching there. And I'm teaching at the piano department. Yes. And
Great.
I have a classical background. And I heard the Oscar Peterson, the piano trio album, and that really hooked me up. And I wanted to continue something, brand new and something exploration with my own musicality. So I decided to go on and came to Berkeley. And yes.
And that's great. So you're also teaching it, but then you said, you know what? Let me put out a project. Let me work on a project so I can show my students what I'm doing.
Of course. And I think it's super important especially for teachers to show what your newest project is, especially when you teach someone with somewhere like a Berkeley, where not you're just talking about how important that you should be practicing and you should be doing your own music, but also you have to show, you should set an example of who you are as a musician and performing artist. So this newest album that I recorded was special to me because it was tribute to my dad. And all the songs that was recorded was very special meaning. Each one of us is very special meaning to me.
Oh, that's special. That's special. So, hey, Rim Jeon, when you're teaching your students, do you give them the background, of where you've been, what you're all about, how you got to where you are today?
Oh, yeah. And I think it's coming mutually. But most of my students come to me and ask a lot of questions about the same question. And they're very interested in knowing how I came about, how I started, and how I set up for my life in US and how I begin my career here, because they're all interested in knowing how this all started and what meaning to me. Yeah.
And this album has had a great impact in your life, honoring your father. And you just put it out last week, huh?
Yes. And I want to tell you, actually, this is not just talking about my personal story. Multi-Grammy award-winning songwriter John Legend once said that artists make personal story universal. So I'm not talking about, how my dad was great and my experience with him and how he influenced me. I'm talking about everyone and their lives. It's your story and my story. It's universal. And we're going through the same thing, especially because of the pandemic, what we're going through for 2.5 years lockdown. And I'm going through the same thing, and I'm sharing my own experience and have connected with everyone with my song. That's my goal of this album.
That's beautiful. So are you expected to be on tour soon?
Yes, and now I am starting from Boston. because now everything just begin to opening up, and we haven't had really chance to play as much. But I was very fortunate that Berkeley was still teaching online, and we are now in person, and we still had a lot of opportunity to perform at school. So I had a great opportunity to present my own students' performance and also my own as a faculty concert at Berkeley during the pandemic. And now I'm just got a regular residency at Wally's Jazz Club. It's one of the historic, and since early 1900, this club has been there, and it's world famous jazz club. And I will be playing there every Wednesday as a piano residency from 9 to 9:45. So I'll be playing there, and I've been playing all lined up performance schedule for until the next year. So I'm very excited about that.
And you collaborated with a number of people, right? Terry Lynn?
Yes.
And talk about it.
Yeah, Terry has been my friend and mentor for a long time. She was on my record 2008. I released my album with a lot of my original songs. It's called Mona Lisa Puzzle. She co-produced and also played the drums. And so I end up having her and Dave Liebman, jazz legendary saxophonist, and John Lagood. I took them to 2009 Jarasam Jazz Festival in Korea, and we played there together. And now this new album, thank you, and new album, the Groovitude, Terry was also featured, and she was very excited because my father, the personal story go beyond this album. We were, scheduled to have a recording session in September, and my father passed away in July, so he never had a chance to listen to the. Thank you. And we basically, she was so graciously participate this album because my father, she personally met my father when we went to the tour in Korea. And he was, of course, the, Grammy Award, multi-Grammy Award winning drummer and a wonderful person. My father had the pleasure to meet her and was very excited to hear that she will be on my CD again.
Oh, that must have been very, very special. Yeah, great. And I'm sure your dad's looking down very, very proud of you. You know what? Can we just throw to one of your songs?
Sure.
Just take a quick look at one of your songs. Ready?
Sure.
Here we go. Let's take a look. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The work that you're doing is like tremendous. Now you're going to be touring around all over the place. When are you coming back to New York? That's when we want to come and see you.
I love to come back to New York. I played last time in 2020, January, before the lockdown. I played in a place called Spectrum. They had a beautiful Steinway.
Yeah.
And the owner has been my fan for a long time. And we were talking about being a residency and coming down there to play every month. And due to the pandemic, it's postponed. So we're going back to our regular patron schedule in 2023. So I love to have you come down and hear me playing there.
We would love that.
And I would love to.
Yeah, well, we're going to try to make that happen. Before we go, we're going to do a hard wrap. I need your social media and everything. But before we go, what was your most memorable and most happy time you came off of the stage and you say, yes, I nailed it?
Fortunately, I have a couple of great, because I have fun with the people who I play with.
Yes.
Well, the one that I just mentioned, I played in Korea, the Jarasam Jazz Festival with the Terry Lin and Dave Liebman and John Lockwood. That was one of the best memories of mine. And also, I had the great pleasure hosting and Benny Golson, jazz legendary Benny Golson, saxophonist at Berkeley. And he was a keynote speaker for our BTOT committee, our conference. And we played, and I had a great opportunity to interview him. And there was one of the most memorable, fond memories with him as well.
Thank you. Well, it's been great talking to you. Where can we go to find out more? Social media, website? Let us know.
Sure. So if you go to Facebook, of course, I have 5,000 friends already. So I would like to accept you as a friend. In the meantime, I also have Rim Jeon and Friends. That's my group name, Rim Jeon and Friends. Also have a Facebook page and also Instagram and Facebook and on my website. More importantly, I constantly update my website information, herimjeon.com, HEYRIMJEON.com.
Rim Jeon, thank you so much. And you're always welcome back. My house is your house and your house is my house, hopefully.
And I just want to mention, Dr. Bob, I really am looking forward to reading your book. I research your all the books that you're doing amazing things on Amazon, and especially you have this wonderful series of books, correct?
Yes.
And I would love to get to know everybody, that were on the show, but especially about the people that you should know in the history, Black and beyond. And I'm looking for people to know in Black history and beyond. And I love to read that. And I just ordered it. So looking forward to reading your book.
Great.
Congratulations.
Hopefully you can bring it. Hopefully you can bring it and I can sign it. But thank you so much for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Well, I have something coming up next. We have Bobby C. He has the latest in the world of sports next.